Welcome to another edition of Living Legacies. I'm Tom Morrow, your host, and today we've got an old character from around Oceanside that a lot of people are going to recognize. L.C. Settles came to Oceanside back in 1936 and stayed on and has been one of the town characters ever since. L.C., welcome to the show. I'm glad that you'd be able to come in today.
Thank you, Tom.
Now, you were born in the panhandle of Oklahoma?
Yeah, Roger Mills County, about 8 miles from Cheyenne, Oklahoma, to the little town right across the Washita River, now called Strong City, which is no town there no more.
Mm-hmm. What year was this?
Be in 1920.
1920. Okay. What does LC stand for?
I knew you was going to ask that.
I'm going to let the big secret
Okay,
out.
it's Luther.
Luther?
C. The C stands for Charsky.
Charsky.
I don't know where it come from, but there it is.
Is it a family? You know, have you ever looked into it as an old family
Well,
name?
I think that's what my father's name was, but I don't know about that either.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, now you told me that long about 12, 15 years old, somewhere along there, you started working summers after school. When school let out, you'd head for Arizona. Is that?
Yeah, that's true.
That's when the work. That's where the work was.
Well, this was the heart of the Depression, and people don't know what a depression is unless they went through that. And plus, there was a dust bowl, drought in western Oklahoma, all through that area.
It ruined a lot of farmers.
It ruined a lot of farmers, and one day, to give you an idea if you can even conceive it, one day there would be a barbed wire fence. The next day, it's sandy, and that fence would be covered. You could ride a horse over it. And the next day, that wind was so strong and it'd blow that all away, the fence would be back there. That's just an idea. Be on one side of the street, you couldn't see on the other side of the street. The animal died of dust pneumonia, and you could put a handkerchief over your nose, a wet one, and immediately it'd have mud on it. That's how much sand there was.
How much of the area did that cover? I mean, I know Oklahoma was the hardest hit, but that was up into Kansas and Nebraska and down into Texas, that whole area. Now, what was the standout in Arizona? Arizona was not hit by this kind of weather?
Well, no, and Arizona had water. They had irrigation, which we had no irrigation. And they had alfalfa, mainly around Casa Grande. Arizona was water, and they had alfalfa and mainly cotton.
And you knew how to work those things? I
knew how to work anything for a nickel, I'd do it.
Now, you were how old when you started working in the fields?
Well, about early teens. And that was when I was riding a freight train from Oklahoma out to Arizona and working the fields but I knew how to pick cotton, and I knew how to irrigate, and they had quite a few cattle, but I didn't get a chance to get in on that there.
And how long would it take you, time you left Oklahoma to get down into Arizona on the train?
Well, you'd figure about at least 6 days to make that trip, one way.
How would you eat? Or would you take a little?
Well, you'd have to just do the best you could. Usually there was no money. That's another thing about home. We thought we were in bad shape, but we weren't in bad shape. We were out on a ranch, combination ranch and a farm. We had cows, and we had pigs, we had chickens, we had everything you could think of to eat like that. And so we were very fortunate in that respect.
So you'd get into Arizona, and when school get out in May, you'd head for Arizona. And so you'd get into Arizona and work June, July, and August?
All that time, yeah.
And how much would you make a day?
Well, I'd get $1 a day.
And your keep?
No keep. I lived by an irrigation ditch under trees, and I done my own cooking on just a thing, and I had a mirror in the tree to wash, and I could see, but that's where I lived. Well, let's just face it, I lived just like the wetbacks did in California for years.
Yeah, I was going to say a lot of immigrant farmers or immigrant farm workers today live the same way.
That's exactly right. But we couldn't do no better, but we thought that was great because we were at least eating and living and putting a nickel in our pocket every day. So it was tough.
So now, how long did that last? How many years did you do that?
Oh, I done that till I was 16, I guess. And then I got in Coolidge, Arizona somehow. And
Coolidge is about 20 miles west of
18 miles from Casa Grande.
Yeah, east of Casa Grande, yeah.
And so I met a guy there one evening. I was in a bar, and I was dancing and sweating and whatever. But I come outside, and a fellow come up.
You weren't drinking there, were you?
Oh, no, not me.
No, okay,
no, not at that age anyway.
Okay.
But this fellow came up and shook hands with me, glad to see me. His name was Ketchum, D. Ketchum. I didn't know who he was, but he knew me in Oklahoma. And he said, "Have you finished school yet?" And I said, "No, I got another couple of years to go." He said, "Well, come on in, let's meet the wife. Come on and see the wife." Went in, they had a little malt shop next door, and he was also a ginner there in town. He run a gin, but they had a malt shop. So I went in, but I didn't know her. And but here comes the son, which was my age. And I met him. I knew him in school, but I didn't know them. But they knew that I was an athlete and whatever. So he took me the next day and introduced me to the coach.
Now, we have a picture of you when you were 15.
Yeah, that's about
what,
right there.
That's what you looked like at that time.
Yeah.
And okay, now he introduced you to the coach,
and the coach said, "Well, we got an eligibility problem." And he said, "No, D. Ketchum, he knew what he's talking about. He'd done his homework, I guess." But he said, no. He said, "That's my wife's brother. He is." "Oh, okay." And he looked at me, and I said, yeah. Well, I just went along with the program, so I went to school. Well, the first we played 3 preseason games.
This
First
football?
First regular season game, I got my leg broke, compound fracture of the lower leg, and also my knee busted up. So they hauled me off the football field and went over to Florence, spent the night there, and in the hospital. Then they brought me back to come over in the school bus. There wasn't no paved roads, it was all bumpy washboard roads. But they took me back to Ketchum's house, and I stayed there 29 days. And the doctor come in and cut that cast off and put another one on. And I left there the next morning and went out to the cotton field. And I lived at the end of the cotton row, and I couldn't crawl, so I'd scoot down backwards and pick cotton. And I made maybe 35 cents a day. But I stayed there till just about Christmas time, and I said, "That's enough. I'm not going to do this anymore." So I caught a freight train out of there, and I come to California. And I had a sister. I was an awful trip on that freight train that night, that day, because I'd witnessed a murder on top of that train. And so I watched the guys get down. They fought on top of the car. And one guy got off just Haley Bend, Arizona. He got off.
You were about 16 years old when you saw
this? Besides that, I had my leg in a cast.
Yeah, okay.
So I wanted to get in that fight so bad I couldn't stand it. But, well, I don't know. I was born that way. But anyway, then after he hit that guy in the head with a rock, got off there, coming in Haley Bend. One of them got off, and there's 2 on 1. And he hit that guy in the head, and he started to jump from one car to the other one. And he knocked him down between the cars. And then he got out and pulled him underneath the cars. His legs were cut off, but he got in his pocket and got that money. So anyway, I cut that cast off that day. And we got in. I knew it was going to get, I never got caught by a bull in my life. That's a railroad bull, or it's a policeman.
Yeah, usually.
And they carried big clubs.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just got off a train in Yuma. And I said, I'm going to just catch whatever I can get and get on it and get out of here, because they're going to shake us down. They're bound to on account of that murder. But I got on another train. It just got off that one and stepped on another one. And the train was going about 20 miles an hour, and a bull car, I saw him coming, but I couldn't do nothing. He hollered, "Get off this train, get off." So I said, "I can't get off." He said, "Get off this train or I'll knock you off." So anyway, I said I can't do it, and I pulled up my britched leg, and my ankle had swollen. Leg was that big around where I'd cut that cast off, and it just blew up. I didn't know it was going to do that, but it did. He said, "My God, kid." So he said, I'll get you off the next trace and I'll give you to somebody. Water stop. He said, this train's going into Mexico. So he gave me to a guy, and he in turn gave me some donuts I'd eaten since the day before. And he got donuts and whatever, but he put me on well, he let me sneak on a passenger train, and it went into San Bernardino. And that's riding the blinds. Well, that's stand up behind the engine, and you're going across that desert, and it's cold.
Yeah.
Got into Redlands, and I got off that thing. And then I stood there for a little while and started to move again. I thought, I ain't far enough yet. So I got back on, and I went to San Bernardino. It was coming daylight. So I got off and I got some oranges and whatever. And I
Well,
went.
you got into Oceanside right soon after that.
Yeah, well, that's it. I come back into Oceanside,
Yeah,
but I did.
We're not going to get all your life in, LC, if we don't. If we
Don't hurry up, huh?
Yeah, if we
Okay.
don't move along. I was saying, when you arrived here in town by freight train, same way, and you were telling me you stayed at a hobo
Yeah.
camp that first night, and then went looking for work.
Yeah, I went looking for Bert, but I had two brothers in Oceanside. That was Lowell, my older brother, and Lee.
Mm-hmm.
And so after that fellow was so nice to me out that cafe, I went down to Ford Garage because I knew Lowell worked at Ford Garage. So I went there and I saw Lowell and then Lee, and then that's where I started Oceanside.
When you worked at the cafe, you would spend time washing dishes and that sort of thing.
Oh yes.
Now, what kind of when did you start into when did you get into police work?
In 1941.
How did you get into that?
Well, Warren Paxson was the chief, and they used to have a kind of a group of guys that wrestled up at high school. And I went up there just for fun and wrestled with him. Well, Paxson weighed probably 235 pounds, but I could get it. I'd get him down and rub his ear just because he's chief of police. That's all. I just
So
rub
you
his
were
ear.
able to manhandle.
Yeah, I
bigger
could.
people. Well, now, I've skipped over a very important part of your life. I didn't mention the fact that you and your wife Hulda, you had met her what year? That was right after you got here?
No, not too long after I got here. I was working to M&T Motor Company. That was Dodge and Plymouth, and that was right across. That was 4th and Hill Street. And Art Lake run the service station out in front. But she used to come in and get gas. She had a Model A Ford. Her father was in the hospital with cancer. He was a veteran in San Diego, so she had a license. She was only 14 then, or something like that. But anyway, that's where I met her. And then, like I told him then, I got to winking at her. Next thing you know, we're going together. So one thing led to another one, and so then we got married. Or she wanted to go to Tijuana. Well, that just to go to Tijuana. Okay, we had two couples, Leland Conway and myself and these ladies went to Tijuana. So we messed around down there during the day, but they want to get married. Yeah, I thought, well, okay, that's not a bad idea. We went in, sat down to get married. Now I said, hey, this is going too far. So I said, if you think enough for a woman, you ain't going to marry in Tijuana. You're not going to marry her in Mexico. You're going to get married at home. So we went back home and I talked to her mother. We left there, went to Yuma, and had it done. Got there the next morning, and a Model T Ford, Model A. Come back, and
Did you ride on the wooden road?
no,
Yuma?
I don't remember that.
No, they probably had the road done by that
Well,
time.
you could see it outside of it, but
Yeah.
there wasn't no. I
Yeah.
didn't remember how.
Well, now you had a daughter, Vicki, and this is a picture of you and Vicki. This is about 1945.
42. Let me see it.
She
No,
was about
that's 1942. She was 5 weeks old.
Okay, yeah. Oh, this picture is taken in 1945 of you and Hulda
Yeah,
and Vicki.
yeah.
That's a nice picture. And you were on the police department. Here's a bunch of guys that you work with. Was that the entire department?
No, the Captain Davis was missing there, and Woodward. I don't know why, but they were.
Why don't you just name off as many of those fellows as you can?
Well, there's Johnny Mick,
Go from left to right.
left to right. Okay, Okay, Johnny Mick, Chet Trone, and Leonard Snyder was a councilman, but he was police commissioner. I don't know what he ever done, but he was police commissioner. But then Bill Coyle was the chief, and a fellow named Lyndon Thriller was on, and here's myself, and Press Thompson, and Tom Smith.
Well, let's move on. This is a picture of you in uniform with you have a buddy. Was he a canine?
Well, that was my own personal dog. We didn't have canines then.
Okay, all right. And you spent 12 years on the Oceanside Police Department, and then you went into the body repair
No,
business?
I was in the body work before.
Oh, I see. Okay, because I've got a picture of you here.
That was 1950.
This is 1950. You were working on a Hudson Hornet, huh?
Yeah,
Looks like you're doing a rebuild job there.
that's right. A tree fell on it out of Camp Pendleton, smashed it flat.
Well, there's just so much to talk about of your life, LC, but probably most people remember you for your work with the Los Caballeros, your horse.
Yeah.
And here's a picture of that, and we've got a little bit of tape. I think we're gonna roll in here and.
Okay. All I can say, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful sight to watch the people come down this hill into this mission. They'll have all kinds of costumes and probably at least 100 riders and maybe 125. So they are enjoying themselves, and really they're putting on a beautiful show for the people who will gather here to watch the festival.
About it now. You said there was up to like 150 families. At one time?
Our bylaws, we had to put a cutoff at 150 people or family members because it was just getting too big. We couldn't handle it all.
So, but a lot of people in those days had horses around here. Were they
Oh yes,
all,
a lot of horses,
all from Oceanside,
and they
or
come all over. They come from L.A. County, Imperial County.
It was a pretty important,
Oh yes,
popular group.
it was a big deal.
Well, you rode in the Rose Parade a few years, didn't you?
Yes, I did that, but not with this group. That's for the individual.
Now, this picture of you, is that you and, who's that with you? Is that you and the wife?
Vicky, my daughter, and my granddaughter, Kirsten.
I see, okay. Now that was, that's the way you rode, that's the way you looked when you rode in the horse, in the...
I would say that wasn't the road parade, that was at Camp Pendleton.
Oh, okay.
And
okay.
I thought that would be, but Kirsten never rode. She rode with me in the Rose Parade, but she had a Palomino and a silver saddle. She didn't have it there.
Well, now you had a security business for a number of years too, didn't you? And that when you worked at Lake San Marcos and here in Oceanside and where else?
North County,
Yeah.
all the way from Del Mar to Ramona.
How many years did you do that?
Probably 25 years. And
when did you retire?
when I was 52 years old, I got crippled then again, but 52, when I was 52 years old, no, 1972, when I sold out and quit.
Well, you had told me, I know I'm jumping back a little bit, but you had told me that you worked for 5 different police chiefs. So while you were on the Oceanside Police Department, do you remember the
Yeah, I went to work for
fellow you wrestled
Warren
with?
Paxton, yeah. And then Bill Coyle was there till 46. And then a fellow named Guy Woodward took over from him. And then a fellow named Gates, Roger Gates took over. And then I worked for Patrick. And that was the police chief's job.
Well, I tell you,
Go ahead.
I've never been so disappointed in an interview in that I'm not able to get at least 1/3 of all the things that I wanted to ask you.
One thing I'd like to say, the night I went to work for the police department,
Yeah.
why, Captain Davis was my right-hand man. And anyway, we went behind the bus station, which was up on Hill Street then, and I looked up the clock and I said, it's only 9 o'clock. He just jumped over to me, said, what the hell, you going to be a clock watcher?
Well, there's so many different stories that I know that you could tell, and I wanted to ask you, and you know, you can only get so much jammed into 25 minutes, but I appreciate you coming in and sharing a little bit of this, and if we have time one of these days, I'll have you back and we'll talk a little bit more in depth in the areas of your law enforcement experience and your
It was
writing
interesting.
days.
It was interesting.
Well, thank you very much, LC. I appreciate it. And this has been Living Legacies here on KOCT. I'm Tom Morrow, and I thank you very much for tuning in.
This program is made possible through the generous underwriting grants of Hatter Williams and Purdy Insurance Services of Oceanside, providing North County with complete insurance needs for more than half a century. The TriQuest Corporation, providing quality office and manufacturing space in Oceanside. And the North County Times, serving all of North County with complete local daily news coverage and internet services.